Thank you, Tina and Sydney. And welcome, everybody. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and my faculty and staff colleagues at the university, we welcome the class of 2022. All right. That's a nice ring. Just a moment ago, you heard that beautiful prayer and had an opportunity to hear from my colleague, Carmen Vasquez. I would now like to introduce the other vice presidents to you. And all of them play a very important role at the university. So if you'd please hold your applause until I have an opportunity to introduce them all. And if you don't mind standing, my friends, Dr. Andy Allen, who's the Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness, Dr. Gail Baker, who's the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Monsignor Dan Dillenbow, Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Mrs. Terry Kalfayan, who's Vice President for Finance, Mr. Kai Snyder, Vice President for Operations, and Mr. Richard Version, the Vice President for Advancement. Let's give them a round of applause. And there is a reward for the parents at the end of this. After you've listened to me and listened to Austin, you'll have an opportunity to go out and have a glass of wine with the vice presidents, and that is going to be hosted by the wonderful parents who are the president of our parent association, Mark and Suzanne Tooney. Would you please stand up and be recognized? Become the change you wish to see in the world. This quote is attributed to Mahatma Gandhi and is appropriate to start with today because change is inevitable during these next 4 years, and you're going to change in numerous ways. And it's our mission at the University of San Diego to help make sure that every student realizes his or her full potential and that their lives are changed for the better, and we believe even more importantly that the world is changed for the better. For me, I was the first in my family to attend college. My college experience opened up a whole new world to me. It was in college that I found my passion, which was to be a teacher and an educator. It was in college that I make lifelong friends and actually met the love of my life, my wife for 37 years, Mary. And it was in college that I found my faith and converted to Catholicism. And while I cannot promise that you'll find your faith, nor your life partner, I can promise that you're going to change in innumerable ways and that you're going to be profoundly changed by this experience at USD. And I also can promise you're going to make wonderful new friends. Mary and I are blessed with many friends over the years, but the ones that we've had the longest and we cherish the most are those that we met in college. Now this summer, 4 of the couples decided that they would join us and we were going to go to the Tetons. And we've all known each other for 40 years. So we rented a big cabin, we had a wonderful week together. And one day, I convinced 3 members of the group to go with me to walk around a lake called Phelps Lake. It's about a 10-mile hike. About 3/4 of the way around the lake, we're walking, and I see something move, and I stop, and it was a bear. Now, well, it wasn't that bear. If it was that bear, I would have been an afternoon snack, and you would have read about me in the paper back in July. But instead of a grizzly, we ran into a black bear. Now, don't get me wrong, an angry black bear can do some serious damage on a human. But when I saw the bear, I was worried. And I stopped and I turned around to my friends and I said, my God, there's a bear. And we all paused for a moment and we're huddled around. It was kind of like that scene out of The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy and her companions see the Wicked Witch for the first time. We didn't know what to do. So I looked and I said, somebody hand me the bear spray. And someone said, I thought you had the bear spray. I said, no, I don't have the bear spray. I said, what do we do? And someone said, well, maybe we should run. And someone said, no, don't run. If you run, they'll think you're prey, and they're going to follow you and chase us, and they'll eat us. And I was thinking to myself, that old joke, everyone knows it, how fast do you have to run from a bear? Faster than the people with you, right? And I knew I could outrun Nick. He is not in very good shape, so. But don't tell Nick that, no, I digress. So I looked at the bear more closely, and I realized that something even more frightening could be happening. And that's when I took it. So what am I doing at the moment? I'm taking this with my cell phone. And as I look at the bear, I'm thinking, the bear is not very big. And the worst place you could be is if that's a cub, is the mama somewhere. Now I'm looking around, we're trying to find out whether or not. Now, as I wrote this the other day, I didn't think about the fact until this morning as I'm coming before you, that I'm in front of an entire arena of mama bears. And in just about 25 minutes, we're going to separate you from your cubs. I'm not going to be between you, I promise. That's something I know. Well, the moral of my story is that even though my friends and I had prepared for hiking, and we looked at the map, and we were prepared when we left the cabin, we didn't think through all the things we might encounter along the trail. And so over the next few minutes, I want to share with you some things that I've learned over the years, and I hope that they'll help you navigate the trail known as USD as you begin your journey to become the change you seek in the world. There are three things that I want to talk about today. One is embracing our traditions, the Catholic intellectual tradition. Second thing is to recommend that you seek out a guide or a mentor on campus. And third is to keep your perspective while you're here. So my first point is to share with you is to embrace our Catholic intellectual tradition. It's core and central to who we are, to our mission, and we plan to engage you while you're in college, academically, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You may know that the root word for education is actually educo, which stands for drawing out and bringing out the best in somebody. And we plan to bring the best out in you by focusing on what I like to call the 3 C's: character, competency, and change-making. Now, I've been talking about the 3 C's for a number of years. My kids know it, they can recite it as well. And my wife told me one day when I came home, she said that one of our sons had walked in and he said, you know, Mom, how Dad is always talking about the 3 C's? And she said, yes. Well, he's going to be thrilled with my report card. Well, the first C I want to talk about today is character. And we believe it's our role to help prepare compassionate leaders and ethical leaders of character. And we believe the best way to do this is through the liberal arts and sciences, experienced through the Catholic intellectual tradition. As a Catholic university, we also firmly believe that the inner journey is equally as important and that the dialogue between faith and reason is as relevant today as it has ever been before. We also believe it is our duty to ask you to ponder life's deepest questions in order to prepare you as a whole person and to live a full and meaningful life. What is reassuring to me is that the recent research and data suggests that a commitment to developing the whole person is as relevant to the job market today as well as your own personal development. Research conducted by Hart & Associates, it was introduced last week, they released the most recent data on it, suggests that college graduates, what employers are looking for is not more depth in a particular field, but rather they want graduates to possess these skills: critical thinking, communication skills, a global perspective, experience working in teams, and most importantly, a commitment to ethical behavior at work. 2 years ago, Fortune magazine did a report and they asked CEOs around the world of Fortune 500 companies, and what's the single most important skill that a CEO should possess or a leader of a company? And it wasn't any particular set of skills, it was one thing, and it was empathy. In other words, employers are looking for what we produce at USD: leaders who are ethical, empathetic, and compassionate. And the best place we believe to develop those skills is through the liberal arts, grounded in character development. And I believe character matters maybe today more than ever. President Woodrow Wilson once wrote something I still believe is true today. He said, if you lose your wealth, you've lost nothing. If you lose your health, you've lost something. But if you lose your character, all is lost. My second C to share with you today is competency. In other words, if you wish to go into medicine or to be an accountant someday, you will be prepared to sit for the appropriate exams or what other aspirations you may have. We're here to help you reach those goals. And all of our professional schools at the university are nationally ranked and have the top accreditations in their fields. We also have a dedicated group of professionals who specialize in helping you find your professional path, including people who will help you find internships while you're still in school. And many of our students find internships and co-op experiences in local businesses and industry. For example, here in San Diego, and this county is a hub for biotech industry and for other emerging fields. And by the way, one of the pieces of advice I would give to a freshman is to visit the Career Development Center as soon as you can in your freshman year to begin planning your path. My final C is change making. Ultimately, at USD, we hope to develop innovative change makers who are prepared to address humanity's most urgent challenges. We do this by providing a diverse and inclusive learning environment. Just a few weeks ago, we learned that we were ranked in the top 100 most diverse private institutions in America. And to give you some example of that, in our student body as a whole, we have over 70 different countries represented and almost that same number of different languages that are first language for students on our campus. We're number 2 in the country for study abroad. We have a center in Madrid that we hope that many of our students in this class will take advantage of. But almost any global issue, whether it's the care of our earth and sustainability, access to health care, immigration, public education, or homelessness, all those issues can and should be worked on right here in San Diego. That is why we're ranked as one of only 47 universities in the world identified as an Ashoka Changemaker campus, and why we're also highly ranked for things such as a commitment to our environment. Our students are passionate about these issues. Second piece of advice, find a mentor and find one early. 2 summers ago, I went with some friends to go fishing in Colorado. We were visiting Aspen, and we went out and we found a guide, and his name was Roger. Roger has been fishing this same stream for 30 years. And he had a lot of experience, and even though he knew that we had some experience, he spent the first half hour just showing us how to throw the cast line and fly rod, use it appropriately. And he encouraged me after a while, after I was standing there and trying to throw the line in, he encouraged me to get away from the shoreline and to step out into the deeper water. And I wasn't comfortable doing this at first. And he said, come on, move on out here a little bit. He showed me how to read the water and where to step. And he said it would increase my likelihood of success. So he was guiding and encouraging me all the way. And the same is true for all of you here today. At USD, you'll find world-class professors who are published in the top journals, who are quoted in major journals across the world, and they are also here to be your mentors. They do still teach. And as well as compassionate and dedicated members of our staff who are here to help you find your way. They're going to encourage you to step deeper into the water, to dig deeper on issues that you're studying, and the point of this is to make you go beyond that comfort zone. And my last piece of advice is to keep your perspective. So often we're so focused on the outcome. At one point when I was fishing, I was getting frustrated. Roger could tell it, and I'm trying to pull this in, and I said, well, I can't get the fish into the net, and so forth. And he had a classic response for me. He said, Jim, that's why it's called fishing and not catching. And he says, I think you ought to take in the whole experience a little bit more. And he said it wasn't about catching the fish. It was about being in a beautiful area in a stream, being with your friends, enjoying yourself while you were fishing that day, and enjoying the morning together. And so it is for your 4 years in college. Always remember that while you are here to get an education, to study hard, and to work hard, to have a deep and fulfilling college life requires you to open up to all that is offered. So listen to your guides. Step outside your comfort zone into deeper waters. There are other ways that you can help yourself on campus to make sure you have that fulfilling experience here. And one of them is to make sure that you realize you're only human. So eat a healthy diet. Make sure that you exercise on a regular basis. Get a regular sleep schedule going. And take time for your spiritual life, whether that is attending one of our services on campus, whether attending Mass or religious service, meditating, or just simply taking time to reflect on your life. All these will matter just as much for your overall success in college as anything else. And by the way, if you need some time you want to go out for a walk, I walk in the mornings most days of the week around 7 a.m., so students will call my office and they'll set up an appointment. Outdoor Adventures will set this up early, and I get a bunch of freshmen to show up, and then they don't come back again after 7 o'clock in the morning. They're just not quite sure why. But I do have faculty and others that join me, so please consider that. And another way that you can, the other piece of advice I'd give all of you is to make sure that you stay in touch with your family. Yes, you should reach out and tell your parents that you're doing well and stay in contact with them. And I also encourage the parents, while today we're trying to encourage you to let go as you go out to the celebration we have afterwards, we also want you to stay in touch and be involved on campus and come back to campus and enjoy all the different opportunities that we have here, whether it's an athletic event or to hear choral scholars sing or come back for a theater production. We really want you back on our campus. Or you can just follow us on social media, on our Twitter or Instagram account. And now I'm making my pitiful plea, which is, please follow me. I don't have many people following me. So I have a Twitter account, USD, at USD Prez. Or you can follow me on my Instagram account. But I'm not the most interesting guy in the world, I admit that. I know many of you follow your favorite musicians. I think Rihanna has like 50 million people following her. But I was happy about a year ago. I was sitting in my living room and I was bragging to my son. I said, I went over 1,000 followers. How about that? And he looked at me and he kind of snickers. And I said, what are you snickering about? He said, well, Dad, you know Ruby, our dog, has 19,000 followers. Now that's not right. Help me. Help me. I'm not even number one in my family, and there's only 3 of us. Well, I get this, that Ruby's, she's better looking, she lives a better life, but the secret is I do my own tweets. She doesn't. So she has a social media manager. When I look at the class of 2022, I see a remarkable group of individuals that are going to meld into a wonderful class and are really going to have an impact for our university, for our nation, and for the world. So class of 2022, welcome, Godspeed, and best wishes as you seek your journey to become the change you seek in this world. And of course, go Toreros. Welcome.